Hey guys, how's it going? Wooksy here. So today I'm just going to be showing you my super endgame hybrid Amazon. It's not going to be using any chase items or anything. I'm not going to be doing that for quite a while. But all items are 101% besides the rune words. So let's just quickly go over it. So Pendant of Eternity, Sheep's King Crown, Torch of Shadows. It's really important to make sure that Into the Dark level is at least like 17 plus. Iron Giant Shield, Shroud of the Elements. Ideally, you want the Elemental Break to be like above level 21. Valkyrie, you don't need Mark Target, but Mark Target is probably the best option. Anubis Mighty Hands, I like this just because it has a lot of HP, CDR, all resist, good stuff. That's basically what the Amazon needs, is a lot of HP. Knight's Girdle, just good for block, armor, all stats, all that stuff. Got super lucky with the +2 all talent ring with a level 38 Colossus. Now, if you do use this ring, try to get Colossus level 35 plus. If it's lower than that, it's kind of not worth it. It might just be better to go like for a lucky loop or something like that and try to get some crit mixed into your setup. I then used Boost of the Golden God, just a ton of damage reduction, all talents, max resistances. I chose Fizz and Magic just because those are kind of like the two most deadly elements, but anything with Fizz, Magic, or Lightning works really well. And then Power of the Void, you can use a Praetorian Blood. Praetorian Blood works fine. You can also use a Witch's Potion, which is the HP potion. Either of the three work. I'm just using this for more damage. On every single one of my items, I have additional talents rolled besides on the amulet, so that's a really important part of this build because without the plus 33 that I have right now, my damage would be significantly lower, and that's just no good, right? So as you can see, I just max out Master Poisoner because we want our poison damage, and Venom because we want mobs to blow up. Spearnage, we're maxing that because we're maxing Odin's Battle Maiden, so that's going to be doing quite a lot of damage. We don't need to worry about maxing like Feint or Chooser the Slain, because Chooser the Slain only goes up or executes to 40% HP, so just having the additional points with 1 point in it will already cap that off. The Feint, you're already getting a ton out of that, you really don't need more. And Bernhilda's Chosen, it's really good for farming, but as you can see, you already get a ton. So I put the rest of my points into Toxic Remains. If you don't have this many all talents, you should probably be putting your points into Chooser the Slain to at least get that to 40%, and then the rest into Toxic Remains. But with that said, my defenses are pretty good, capped on all resists with an additional 6% in physical and magic, and then the 2 in lightning. Then we have 200k reduction, so that's pretty reasonable. We have 344k HP, which is also again pretty reasonable. Life on hit and mana per hit, those are two extremely important stats, and I'll share why in a second. And our health per second is pretty high. We're kept on CDR, so everything is pretty solid. I'm choosing to play at hero level 70 because the level of Wormhole I'm going to be doing and the type of gear and everything else, this is just a very even level to be at. It's probably easily acceptable to be like 90 plus for this type of Wormhole, but we're just going to stick around 70. So I go HP. You don't really need the strength. HP's better. You can either go for the armor or for the block. I go block because it gets us up to 80%. Now you can get up to 100%, but that does require items to have plus block roll to them and not plus talents. So you do lose some damage and some extra utilities. I then go for the elemental damage because we're not going crit or anything fancy. I'm not getting shockwave or meteor because yeah, the damage is good, but I really don't want those pushing mobs out of the way. I want everything grouped up, so I'm going to use Divine Shield, and that also just helps keep us alive. We do poison damage, so Master Poisoner is going to be our choice of damage here. I use Fleet Footwork. I could use Hail of Blades or something for additional attack speed, but I'd rather just have the movement speed. And then finally I go for the all stats. Now for the Mercenary, I kind of build them the exact same almost every build, but you get the double hit, then max out taunt, HP, shielding, symbiosis, rest of the points into armor boost, and as you can see, Tanky Boy is pretty tanky. He's got 2.1 mil base HP, but he's actually got 2.6 real HP, I guess you'd say. Then he has 300k health per second. His resists aren't the best, but that's just what we have right now. And for his gear, we're using a shelter, a Gem King's Garb with all rubies. This is so that he gets higher HP. The more HP he has, the more damage he will mitigate from you. So you ideally just want to give him as much HP as possible. Then Judge with Weapon Sweep. It's really important to have Weapon Sweep because this will apply to your character, and as you might know from some of my other videos, Weapon Sweep procs life per hit and mana per hit. So this allows us to jump into packs of mobs and pretty much keep ourselves sustained. And then finally we have the Golden Crusader, which is just a really good tank helm. If I were to swap this out, I'd probably swap it out with like a Grim Reaper's hood or something with attack speed, so that way we can just continue keeping our weapon sweep up at all times. But with that, let's go ahead and do this wormhole. Now this is going to be a 2k, and our bar is really important to keep this cast order in this order. Because if you don't, it's going to screw things up if you just auto-cast. So you want Venom first, because you always want that being on cooldown. Odin's Battle Maiden next, because again, you always want that on cooldown. And Valkyrie after that, because that will also pick up the Odin's Battle Maiden and everything else. So the Spearnage, that's going to be the last thing, because when everything else is on cooldown, and if your Odin's Battle Maiden isn't casting, then you get a chance to cast a single Spearnage before that's going to be up again. So, with that said, let's go ahead and get started. This is not the most ideal map, but it is okay. Now, what I'm basically just doing right now is just trying to poison stack things, get past get to the end of the instance really. Trying to get taunts off on everything. Now you don't have to rush to the exit or to the end of the map like you do on some builds, because you're just slowly poison stacking. It doesn't matter too much. But my guy does need a taunt already. These mobs do stun, so that's another reason why I really like Weapon Sweep, because during stuns it helps keep you maintained. Sir, my guy does not know how to taunt because I'm recording. Now, if you don't have a judge on your mercenary, you'd have to swap out Spearnage right here for poison knives. just so that you can get poison stacks up on everything and kite everything yourself, essentially. I feel like we still have some mobs that aren't taunted, just due to the fact that they're moving so slow. Okay, that was a good taunt. So our goal now is just, as usual, just group everything up. The reason why we want to do that, obviously, is because we're just stacking a ton of poison. So just keeping the mobs grouped up allows mobs to die and allows our toxic remains to spread, and just allows you to go pretty crazy on damage. So I feel pretty comfortable with my HP getting lower here, because between the shields and weapon sweep, I should be absolutely fine. And this wasn't the best run either. This could have been performed a lot better. As you can see, everything dies extremely fast once you start getting the poison stacks up. All you have to do is get the mobs to 40% and they're dead. So, very easy to do. Allows you to stack a lot more defenses than some classes do, where you're required to stack more damage. I'm just gonna finish off these last few champions. Gonna pull them back just a little bit, just because I'm having a little trouble getting damage on them when they're stuck in that corner. Now granted, your Envenom's gonna be pretty much like screen wide, but doesn't do anything if they're not poison stacked, so I actually think in the future I'll be changing that Spear Ninja out right there for poison knives. So let's go ahead and do the boss. This is a really good boss for us. We just pretty much get an AFK. I am just going to tank this for the sake of tanking it. I actually don't know if it's going to be feasible or not. No, that's a little bit too much still. Yeah, it's just a little bit too much to tank his Pool of Filth. But you're actually very close to being able to. If I had a little bit more life leech, I think it'd be absolutely fine. And again, for this boss, you always just want to stay, you know, either horizontal or vertical and not hugging any of the corners, because he will clip you with the pure destruction and kill you pretty quickly. So just always be in front of him or behind him. As you can see, our DPS is pretty fair. We're maintaining like 700 something mil. Obviously, if we were moving around, it wouldn't be nearly the same, but you still have a lot of control with this build. Once you get the poison stacks up, it's pretty much a success if you can just stay alive for the boss. So And for bosses, for this being a 2K, this really didn't take that long at all. And that's that. And as you can see, 201. As for the relics, this isn't exactly the most like optimal for wormholes, but this is just more of a rounded one for your character. That way you can still have like the demon shrines and magic find, stuff like that. But basically you're stacking all talent percentage, HP, strength, and armor. So just getting all that, not really focusing on attack speed too much. I picked these two up just because they have so many extra stats on them, and the movement speed on Amazon Spears is really nice. So with that, I think we have like, yeah, 986 movement speed. But yeah, that's a good old hybrid Amazon build. Thanks for watching. If you guys want to see some different Amazon builds, go ahead and comment below. I will be putting out some cheap budget versions of like how to transition into Hell 5 using like Mythic gear, things like that. So that video will be coming out, I actually don't know, but it'll be coming out fairly soon since I am uploading this one. But thanks for sticking around and watching, guys, and I hope you have a good one.